Hi, I'm JR Granatelli from Granatelli Motorsports in Oxnard, California, and today we're going to install our 1G for 2G suspension package on an 85 notchback. We have a ton of suspension for this car. Granatelli Motorsports has always been known for our suspension and our performance electronics, but our strength has always been really in the Mustang, especially the Fox chassis. So we're going to put the Granatelli K-member, A-arms, coilovers, and caster carrier plates on the front. Then we're going to put our welded subframe connectors. In the back, we're going to run our weight jackers and double adjustable upper control arms. What's really cool about the weight jackers, as we'll see in a moment, is that it gives us the ability to run a stock style spring in the rear and adjust the upper and lower ride height by approximately 1.5 inches. So why don't we stop talking and jump on this thing. We'll start with the front suspension.
Our 1985 Mustang Coupe needed some serious help up front, and Granatelli Motorsports had an upgrade package to improve our handling in one shot. We began with the welded subframe connectors. They connect the existing frame rails and help strengthen and improve the rigidity of the unibody Mustang. Then we removed the stock front suspension components, the brakes, spindles, springs and A-arms, with that stock heavy K-member being the last thing to go.
All right, we just got the factory parts out. Got the K-member, A-arms, and coil springs out. And now we're going to talk about a few features and benefits of the Granatelli parts over the factory. The first thing you'll see is how robust our part is, but also you can see how much lighter it is by the frame structure. We also give you the ability of having 2 different mounting locations for the A-arms versus factory. We've also eliminated this area for the spring pocket, so that actually gives you a lot more structural rigidity, and it takes a lot of that weight savings is accounted for right in here. The next thing we want to look at, just as a quick example, would be the A-arms. Our A-arm now, again, 4110 carbon steel, 180 wall material, and then look here, where this is a factory bushing. You can see where it's cracking, which is rubber, and now we've gone to a much harder durometer energy suspension polyurethane bushing. That's going to get a lot of that wishy-washy feel out of the front steering. A little bit later, we're going to talk about the Takiko D-Spec and the coilover and how they work in concert with each other to give you an even better ride.
With just a little bit of convincing, we bolted up our new Granatelli tubular K-member and Granatelli A-arms equipped with energy suspension bushings. Finally, we got the coupe ready for the caster camber plates, which will be able to adjust the suspension settings once we install the Takiko D-Spec coilover shocks.
All right, the last part of the equation is going to be the Takiko D-Spec Granatelli conversion. What we do here is we're doing a coilover conversion. We're actually putting the coil, like it says, right over the top of the strut. And Granatelli Motorsports and Takiko worked in concert with each other to design a specific D-Spec strut that would work for 79 and 93, and then 94 to 2004. Really the only difference is shaft length and a little bit of piston geometry, but essentially what makes these products so cool is that they give you a little tool to go with it, and that little Allen wrench goes into the top of this shock right here, and it allows us to do an adjustment. So you go in there, you'll drop it in there, and now it gives us the ability to have a 16-way adjustment. So we can actually set the compression to 16 different stiffnesses or softness for that matter.
Installation of the Takiko D-Spec is as simple as attaching the strut itself to the stock spindle and running the top of the strut through the engine bay. Of course, after bolting in the strut, it was time to reinstall the factory brakes. No modifications were needed when reattaching the stock components to the newly modified front end. So, once we got the calipers back into place, we were ready to throw the wheels back on and wrap up the front end.
Okay, we finally got it. We did the K-member, A-arms, coilovers, caster counterplates, subframe connectors, and now we've gotten back to the weight jackers and the double adjustable rear control arms. Some of the benefits to the weight jackers are going to be the fact that they're much more solid, so we get rid of that flimsy flex. The flex is what's typically notorious for causing wheel hop. And best of all, the weight jacker has the ability to raise or lower the car 1 inch, so we can drop the car 1 inch or raise it 1 inch over stock. And that's using the stock style spring and the stock length spring. Those are really the big benefits to a weight jacker. In terms of the double adjustable upper, by running an adjustable upper control arm, what that allows you to do, again, it gives us a much stiffer stance, so the car has less flex to it, but also the factory control arm on the upper is a solid bushing front and rear. We went to a spherical front end, so now when the rear end goes around, it's allowed to float. It still keeps the tires perfectly flat. But most importantly, the benefit to a double adjustable upper is it allows us that pinion angle. What we're going to do when we're done here, we get the car back on the ground, get the tires down, we're going to set about a -3-degree pinion angle, which is going to give this car just a ton of hook.
That wrapped up our GMS suspension installation, with total weight losses being over 50 pounds from stock. Not only that, but we stiffened the suspension and added adjustability to both the front and rear suspension. This will allow us to maximise performance for both street, drag strip and autocross.
All right, when we got the car off the lift, the first thing I noticed is how aggressive the stance was. You know, we lowered this car 1.5 inches. Under hard braking, brake dive was virtually eliminated, but where this car really shined is under hard corners. This thing basically stuck to the road on all 4 tires. No more slipping and sliding out of the rear end. Like JR told me, this car is truly a different car altogether.
That wraps up our installation of the Granatelli G suspension kit on our Coupe. Special thanks to JR and to Kiko for all their help with the project.